Jackie Nyokosa reporting.
Thanks so much, Danielle. I love learning about this region's rich history. And we need your help. If you have an idea for a Remember When segment, which we plan to turn into a documentary this fall, please send us your story ideas to carolina.impact@wtvi.org. Well, to learn more about our history and that around Ivey's department store, Tom Hanchett, who is a consulting historian with the Levine Museum of the New South, joins us now. Tom, thanks so much for your time.
Great to be here on WTVI.
I've given you a new title, King Historian.
Oh, good golly.
Kind of like it?
Good. I rule alongside of Google. That's how I remember everything.
It's all good. Talk to us a little bit about what life was like for shopping in Uptown Charlotte pre-malls.
Well, when Ivey's department store was founded in 1900, Charlotte was the cotton trade center. And so folks would come in with their bales of cotton in the fall. They might only come into town once a year, but they would come to Charlotte. We had great railroad connections. Where Epicenter is now was with the cotton trade platform. You'd sell your cotton there, and then you'd walk over to Belk's department store or Eford's department store or Ivey's department store.
So it wasn't just one that ruled Uptown, there were three.
Right.
So you could do everything at one location, kind of the pre-mall concept.
Yeah, even grocery shopping was centered in the heart of the city until automobiles began to pull people out to the suburbs.
Help us understand, what was the civic spirit of J.B. Ivey like?
J.B. Ivey was very much in evidence, and that's something we don't have today very often. Family Dollar is that way, but today we have sort of large corporations that run so much of our retail life. J.B. Ivey was a guy who loved tulips, and you could go past his house and see his tulip garden. If you went down to Ivey's department store, he brought the tulips in and showed them off to you. The Tulip Room was the name of the little luncheonette at Ivey's. And he was very active in the church, very active in civic affairs, and it was very much a community building institution. The Ivey's department store chain started in Charlotte, ended up being a regional chain before it was bought out by Dillard's.
Talk to us a little bit. His faith was very important to him as well, and that faith carried over into the way he sold or wouldn't sell things.
Now, this is an era when very few stores are open on Sunday, but J.B. Ivey did not stop at that. He had this beautiful building still downtown with these huge plate glass windows, and on Sundays he would close the shades on the windows so you were not tempted by the world on the Lord's day. And I've even heard from someone who is a buyer at Ivey's that he would not even tempt you in the thought of things sinful like wine. They would sell maroon sweaters, but not burgundy sweaters. And they would sell...
Because of the color correlation.
Because burgundy is a wine. They would sell little folding tables, but not card tables. And I do know for sure that the covering the windows was a very important part of who J.B. Ivey was.
Unfortunately, he almost ruined uptown shopping himself by his plan to move to the burbs?
Well, this is something that I think department store owners were very torn about in the 1950s and 60s, and eventually the Belk and Ivey families got together and created South Park Mall. There was a feeling in our society as a whole that everyone was going to go to the burbs, and you might as well get out there ahead of them. Of course, it becomes sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So by the time I came here in 1981, Belk and Ivey still existed downtown, but were clearly putting their emphasis out at the malls.
And so that was the beginning of the end. So progress changed things a little bit for sure.
It sure did. And the rise of deep discounters, the rise of the big box stores. Today, we wish there was more retail downtown, but ask yourself where you go when you need whatever you need, and I'll bet you go to some place like Target or Costco or whatever like that, and that makes it really hard to have the kind of robust uptown retail that people of my generation remember.
And folks sort of long for today, and there's very few cities. I'd say maybe Chicago still has a thriving shopping district.
Right.
On Michigan Avenue, as well as New York City, but there aren't too many other, large cities that still have that bustling retail.
Right, right. We've gone to the mall. You need to go downtown if you all haven't on Saturday, on Sunday, in the evening. people are down there and they're enjoying the art galleries, they're enjoying the restaurants, they're enjoying just strolling in this beautiful spring weather. And that is something that was much stronger a couple of generations ago thanks to people like J.B. Ivey.
Tom Hanchin, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge of history with us. We so love learning.
Wonderful to be here.
Have you or a loved one ever